Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom to all the brethren. As always, greetings and salutations to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad. Special greetings and blessings to you, to all those that are here today joining Restoring the Branches ministry on another Shabbat message, another Shabbat word, more Shabbat bread, fresh bread for today. So each Shabbat, the high priest would bring out new bread, fresh bread. The bread would last for a week, and then they bring in new bread. So we got fresh bread today for you, and as we always say, a Shabbat Shalom to everybody, but to the 12 tribes of Israel. We never want to leave out anybody who has joined themselves to the ancient Hebraic faith, to this walk. As we move more and farther down the timeline into this era that we're headed into, we need to be an old people. We need to be in the old way, in the old path. And as always, last but never least, the most important, to the destitute, to the heartbroken, spirit broken, folks have been crushed. People feel like they have no hope. People are lost. They just lost like a duck, just lost. It's the power of the word that y'all put a hook in you and pull you back. Before we started rolling the camera, I was saying it in 2008 and 2009, horrible season. But I ended up loving the word. And I wanted to hear more about the word. And I wanted to hear this brother and this brother. And then I just wanted to hear the word. So if you don't like the word, if you don't have a desire to get more of the word, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to go anywhere, any congregation, any group of people that is giving you true word. It's going to be hard. If you want a show, if you want entertainment, if you want your belly tickled like my cat at home, then this ain't gonna work. But if you want the word, if you want some truth, if you want clarity of the scriptures, if you want to read something that Yahshua said, that Christ says, and you want to take it back and see where in the prophets was it said. And then you say, it was in the prophets. Well, there has to be a some kind of regulation back in the instructions. And you go back to the first 5 books and match it all up. But if you don't love the word and if you don't want to get your hands dirty, then it just ain't gonna work. But special greetings to all, and I pray that anybody that watches this, special greetings to you. Our topic, our subject for today, it is a message today, but it's also a part presentation. Okay, this is Juneteenth. Well, not today, but the week of. So our title today is Crying Out. Crying Out. Juneteenth to Jubilee. Juneteenth to Jubilee. Yah is inclining his ear. He's inclining his ear. I said, man, what does that mean? He's inclining his ear. He's starting to listen. He's starting to hear. We've got a bunch of children in here, and you hear when you got kids at a certain age, they say stuff over. I got one of my sons, my middle boy. He'll say it over, and he'll say it over, and he'll say it over, and you just ignore it. But then there's a point where you incline your ear to what the child is saying, and then you act. You do something. You fix the situation. You leave. You do something. Well, that's how Yah is. Okay. So we're going to look at series of events mid to late 19th century. Okay. Don't get scared. We're not going to have a lot of stuff like this. All right. Folks, mid to late 19th century. Suck it now. This is just to catch us up on what makes Juneteenth unique, and why why would we say from Juneteenth to Jubilee? Okay, so what happened on November 20th, 1860, with the state of South Carolina? Anybody knows? Just off the top of your head?
No.
That was the first state to secede from the Union, to say, you know what? I tap out. I'm out. I'm done. And then we have Mississippi, January 19th, 1861. Florida, no, I'm sorry, that should be January 9th. Then Florida, January 10th, 1861. Alabama, the 11th, 1861 in January. Georgia was, that was who was on the 19th in 1861. Louisiana, Texas, keep in mind Texas. All right. Virginia, followed in April. Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee. So these states succeeded, and this was the beginning of something in the mid. So on the other side, so we had the first succession was in 1860 of November. By April the 12th and the 13th, we had our first battle of Fort Sumner. Okay, first Fort Sumner. In 1861, the Confederates won that first battle. Okay, now there's some unique things we're going to look at here really quick. The Confiscation Act was signed by Abraham Lincoln. This was in August 6, 1861. Congress passes it July 1862. Okay, so the Confiscation Act was that, look, you states that are out of control, we're going to confiscate your property, your land. And since the slaves had no rights, they were property. So the Confiscation Act, signed by Abraham Lincoln, passed by Congress, allowed now Northern troops or the Union troops, when they're coming in, they scrapping. Long story short, give me your stuff. Okay, give me a slave too. All right, that big, look him, big old shoulders, big old back. Get him. Confiscation. I got it. He mine now. Okay, give me your horses and give me your alcohol. Give me your guns and give me him. Okay, that was the Confiscation Act. This led to the issuing of the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, it was issued in September 22nd, 1862. So if you know anything about Juneteenth, you know that once the emancipation came out, that these slaves in Texas, right, they were still what? Still slaves. Hey, nobody know nothing. All right. So the irony of Texas succeeding in 1861, the emancipation was issued in September 22nd. It became effective January. Well, they were supposed to turn back or get back, as in like we're at a fight. We're already fighting now, and then you're writing and passing bills. But we see that today. We have conflict with Russia. We have conflict with Syria. And you know what we do? We go to the United Nations. And you know what we do? We try to get a tariff on somebody. We go and then we try to put sanctions on somebody. Obama has so many sanctions on Russia. So what we see here, the North putting sanctions or rules on the South, even though we're already at war, this is what you would call rules of engagement. This has been going on for however long it's been going on. Okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. So with that being said, at the end of 1862, runaways and free blacks enlisted. They were able to enlist. Okay, and they would go in swarms to the Union border and try to get in. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. Black soldiers were not equally paid or treated. Okay? It took about 2 years for Congress to say, okay, give them equal pay. So if the soldiers of the Union were making about $13 a month, the black soldiers make about 10, 9. Okay? Don't have the good stuff. I don't have good. So it took some time. They finally got Congress did some stuff. I guess you want to call it some stuff. But in June of 64, Congress grants equal pay. April 9th, and we're going to skip, because some of this stuff, we're just going to skip it. And then April 9th, 1865, General Lee surrenders at Potomac, Virginia. That was the surrender in 1865. Okay, so that was the surrender. So we have the important things is to look at the emancipation being issued in September of 1862, and then it was, this is enforced. Do this by January the 1st, 1863. Obviously, that didn't happen. We see that in 1863, 1864, you have a lot of blacks who are in the North or in the Union still not treated right, not treated. So when you look at that, now I'm not going to go there, but as a microcosm, it really ain't about you, but it's about you. It really ain't about you, because if I was trying to if I really wanted you to be free, yeah, come on over here and fight with us, man. Come over here and fight with us. It was like, what you doing here? So if it was really about you, I would love to fight with you. But since it's really not about you, then I don't want you fighting with me. Matter of fact, Congress got passed a bill. If I give you a gun, if I give you any kind of boots, good boots or bullets, I hope you step on a tank. Hope you step on some nails. I ain't giving you nothing. This is from the Union, who was supposed to be freeing the slaves. But anyway, so just a little side information. So let's turn now. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on that. Okay, this is General Kirby Smith. General Kirby Smith, y'all gonna love him. He was the last Confederate general to surrender June 2nd, 1865. That's interesting. Turn back the page here. General Lee was done in what? April. So this man, he said, man, we're gonna go along. I'm gonna hold this thing along we can. We're gonna go along as we can. We're gonna keep this thing moving. Choo choo, money train. I ain't stopping nothing. So he was the general and commander of what is called the Trans-Mississippi Department, Arkansas, I think it was West Louisiana, and Texas. Okay, Texas. All right. Smith continued fighting and held resistance with his army in Texas. The Union never technically went into Texas like they did Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee. There was a lot of areas that, man, it was like a nuke bomb went off when the North came in. Once the tide turned, and honestly, the tide turned, especially when you got 800,000 people want to come fight, and it took some time for them to let them fight, But then, if I don't believe someone's a person, or if they're equal to me, why would I want them to fight with me, especially if this changes the tide of the war? Mm-hmm. What? We won because we got their help? They're not even people. Remember, Confiscation Act. We come through your city, and you work for the Confederate Army. I'm taking all your stuff, even that big old slave. Give me that big old man. Take her too. She can do some good. Because when they first came for the army, they weren't fighting. They was cooking. They were cooks. They were doing guns. They were cleaning guns. Or making sure my boots and stuff straight. Okay. So we have General Kirby Smith, who stretched out as long as he could. So in the South, I thought was interesting was that the plantation owners were smuggling slaves to Texas. So it's like because of the Confiscation Act. Okay. All right. So if you've ever driven from on I-10, you can travel from all the way across to Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, help me out, Alabama. What else? Georgia. You can drive straight. Yeah, you can drive. On that I-10, you can just drive straight across. So there was a slaves being smuggled, and who knows an unknown number of slaves being smuggled because Confiscation Act. This man lied and said General Lee and General Johnson were prisoners of war. So It ain't like today. You know, you turn on your Twitter, your Facebook, your what else? Instagram, Fox, CNN, internet news. You know, information travels quick. Well, they're all the way in Virginia, and I'm all the way in Texas. So your man Kurt was just like, I don't know nothing. He getting pigeons and kites, and I don't know nothing, man. Them folks are prisoners of war. Keep fighting, hold up the front. Okay? But there was a lot of, and we're never going into all his background, but there was political things, the people that put him in, there was a lot of political, so he had to make sure and take care of those people politically that put him in this, can you see, brother, to put them in that position. Okay? But he lied. I mean, nothing new. We talk about how these people lie. A lot of people lie and stuff. I say these, I just mean just devils. Who is a devil? Somebody that just devalues life. Anybody can be a devil. No matter what your outside look like. What's coming up out your mouth? Huh? What come out your mouth? Whatever come out your mouth comes from your heart, according to the book. That's what deems you unclean. Ain't that what Yahshua was talking about? Mm-hmm. Same what you put in you, what's come out of your mouth. What come out your trap. So he lies. They were prisoners of war. They moved slaves there and into Texas. And I just had the, aha. So this is General Smith, and he eventually did surrender, obviously June 2nd, 1865. This is General Gordon Granger, Triple G. We'll call him Triple G like that fighter. Triple G. Triple G came into Texas kicking that door down, had his mitts up. General Orders number 3, June 19th, 1865. June 19th.
Yeah.
Okay. June 19th. Okay. This is in Ashton Villa in Galveston. All right. So we've been out there in Galveston, and it's coast area, outside of Houston area. Okay. This is what was said. I'm gonna read this to you. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and that they will not be supported in the idleness either there or elsewhere. So we see little things getting placed in there like idleness, right?
Yeah. You got to be busy.
You better be busy. Don't you be sitting around there, you little jigaboo. You better be doing something. So and he said, hey, and don't come knocking on our military posts. I ain't got nothing for you. We ain't got no checks. So stay where you are. Well, I'm on a plantation. I ain't got no home, right? But that's not the point there. But point being is that this was the final, boom, the final blow for the people who lived in Texas who had no clue that there was even an Emancipation Proclamation in September 26, 1862 or 3. They ain't even know. They had no clue. Zero clue. So they just go from like being slaves another day to, Triple G coming in town and saying, hey, you're free. Okay? Hey, you're free. That's what happened. Jumping and shouting. The records say it was singing, dancing, praising Yah. It was just you can't imagine what the sound that was going on. Okay, singing, dancing, shouting, crying, all kinds of stuff. Now, there's people that was mad too. Like, what you mean with Emancipation Proclamation? We're gonna find that man. Go upside his head. Okay. Lost fact. From 1865 to 1891, June 19th was called, hey, a drum roll, y'all do a little drum roll. Jubilee Day. So you have about over 25 years, going to the early 20th century, that this was known, it was not Juneteenth. It was Jubilee Day. So somebody got freed, and they immediately connected it to the Jubilee.
Wow.
See, some things are just so deep entwined in your spirit. Anyway, so Jubilee Day is what this was known until early 20th century. And as America is moving and changing, becoming more modern, we have eventually America enters into what, World War I, right? America is supposed to be the strong Christian nation and building and helping. And every June, you got a section of your population talking about some Jubilee Day. We are free. They said, nah, y'all change that. Something. This is insulting. You're insulting the fabric of the forefathers. That sounds like stuff that would be said now, right? Oh, it is. I'm sorry. It is. My bad. I got my mind. I got my stuff in ponytail too tight. Psalm 77. Psalm 77. Now we'll get to our scriptures. That was the most of the presentation, so there, won't be no more, okay? More history, facts, stats, 18, something. Even though that was pretty cool, though, right? That they called that Jubilee Day.
That's cool.
So Psalm 77 will be in verse 1. Psalm 77, verse 1. Remember, the title is called Crying Out, and Yah is inclining his ear. Crying out, Yah is inclining his ear. Psalm 77 and 1. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. So what did he say? He said, I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and he gave ear unto me. When did this happen? In the day of my trouble. When did you cry unto Elohim? In the day of my trouble. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My soul ran in the night and ceased not. I cried all night. All night. My soul refused to be comforted. See, when we read something like that and we go back and we'll have like a little history trip back to the 1860s, you just kind of start that emoji. I mean, look at this. I cried unto God with my voice, even unto God with my voice. He gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My soul ran in the night. I ain't going to sleep. I refuse. I'm crying all night. You do that, you get Yah's attention. But you're not, but you ain't suffered enough like that. You ain't crying all night. He said, my soul, so a body was uncomfortable. He said, my soul refused to be comforted. I remember God and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Thou holdest mine eyes walking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. That's why we always talk about things in the past, because we got to remember the Ancient of Days. His victory is flawless.
Amen.
He ain't got no blemishes on that record.
Amen.
He said, I made Floyd Money Mayweather. I got the greatest record of all time. I call to remembrance my song in the night.
Yes.
I commune with my own heart, and my spirit make diligent search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? So when we're in positions, I read too much, sorry. Supposed to stop at 6. But when we're in these positions, as individually, but also as a people, as a nation, as a body, as one group crying out. Imagine that. A group of people being one-minded, on the same page, and crying out all night. Yahshua will be like, oh, I would love that. You know how much offerings I got to take to the Father? Because sometimes the best prayers, the best supplications, when your heart is broke.
Amen.
Spirit just twisted. I can't sleep. I don't want to sleep. That's what we look like. That's how we're supposed to be. Like a baby. I cried unto God. That was Psalm 77:1. And that cry is, what's that Hebrew? How was class today? How did substitute do? I know she's pretty and all that stuff, but how did the class go?
Yeah.
It's the first letter.
Cool.
Zion.
We know Ayok. My bad, bro. Okay.
That's the Zadi.
Zadi.
And then that's cool.
Zaak. Okay. On one day, both of them came back and was like,
quiet.
Allie asking. I'm like, Allie asking. Anybody even eat?
They did good.
Should have just gave the answer.
We gonna always be teaching. That's the best way to learn is get that pop quiz. Man, I gotta keep studying. So Zaak, and this is a child root, and this is verse 1. I cried, and to cry out, call. That your cry is not really a cry. If you learn anything today, that your cry is not really a cry. Biblically, it's a call.
Amen.
That's why I got the baby right there.
Hallelujah.
Got babies and children in here, and everybody had a baby. They've been a parent.
Hallelujah.
And when you're in that bed, and you just put the baby to sleep, and you're in the bed, and you finally get in that sleep, and you hear that wah, wah, you get up out the bed and you go. Because it wasn't a cry, it was a call. How do you know it was a call? Because I got up and I went.
Amen.
So David, he's saying that, hey, I cried unto God. I called out. He said, I cried all night. So we're trying to see, in different points in history, have the people Za'ak all night. Or Za'ak for a period of time. And will things, according to what we're going to look at today, it's going to be so bad that the people will cry out. There's going to be a call. Because at some point, as a parent, you get up out that bed. Now, your kids get older, you might not move quick on that call. But when they're babies, and why would I have a picture of a baby? Well, what do we talk about to the first of the year? First of the year as far as Pesach. Huge emphasis on being what? Born again. We keep, see how y'all keep bringing this back full circle with this word?
I agree.
He keep bringing us back full circle. So it's like, so when you born again, and when you call to me, you like a baby. I'm getting up for that baby. But if you don't want to be born again, and you're just some old raggedy knucklehead, ain't paying you no attention. My ears are deaf to you. You must be born again. I wasn't supposed to say it then. Now I'm supposed to say it. You must be born again.
Amen.
Okay. Must be born again. Before we go there, sorry. Psalms 107. Psalms 107. We're going to be a lot in Psalms today. A lot in our Tanakh today. But you know, he said the scriptures is written to me. Right, so we need to be in the scriptures because that's where he at. He said, that's where I'm at, baby. Come find me. I'll be there. Psalms 107, verse 6. And it reads, then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distresses. Okay, we'll stay in the same chapter. Verse 23, they that go down to the sea in ships. Oh, that's not right.
What verse?
107, I said 23. But that
What was the first verse?
I'm sorry, 107 and 6.
Okay.
Erase with the last thing I said. It's 13. Okay. Verse 13. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. So see, we got to get to a point where we are in this born again, precious status in Mashiach. So that when we cry, which really means call, he comes.
Okay.
We got to get back into this born again, precious status in Mashiach. So that when we cry, which means call, he comes.
Hallelujah.
But if I'm the wild teenager that's sneaking out the window and stealing mom and daddy car and going and doing this, then
He's got a deaf ear.
That's it.
Have mercy. Thank you.
so which one are we?
Mm-hmm.
Am I this new, precious, born again in a status of Mashiach? I'm just that knucklehead man on that. Hey, what y'all doing? Hey, my mom and them sleep. I'm going out the back door. Why would y'all call? Why would he come? Because you're still gonna cry. You're still gonna call. They still call. Isaiah 19. Isaiah 19. So I said, Nicodemus, don't get wrapped up. That's when you got to be born again. Don't get all wrapped up in that. You know, I'm the one that's speaking dark parables and riddles. And I utter these sayings. Isaiah 19 and 20. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness to the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt, for they shall cry to the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior and a great one,
Hallelujah.
and he shall deliver them.
Hallelujah.
Okay? So, Za'ak, crying, but you're calling for help. You're the baby. You was sleeping, you was good, your passy fell out your mouth. Right? Or either you're passing, you're sleeping so good, and your foot got stuck in the little gap in between. And the baby crying, and you go in there like, what's wrong, baby? That man got his foot stuck. And you take their foot out, and then they're good. You got up and you saved them. So y'all like, I want to be like this with y'all. But y'all keep jumping past this baby stage. Y'all keep jumping past. Y'all don't want to go back. You like being that wild teenager. You like being in that youthful 20s. Now I'm just, sewing my royal roots. And that's how you sound. Ignorant. Lamentations, 2nd chapter. Lamentations, 2nd chapter. To lament. Right? We got to be in a lamenting process. Right? We got to be crying out to somebody so that he will save. Because that cry is just really a call. I'm just calling out. We done went over this man. What did it say? He come back as a flaming fire. What's on his mind? Vengeance. Right, this ain't gonna be no cash money. This ain't gonna be no bone thugs and harm. I got money on my mind. No, vengeance is on his mind. Vengeance is on his mind. Lamentations, 2nd chapter, verse 13, and it reads, what things shall I take to witness for thee? What things shall I liken thee to, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? He said, yo breach, your trespass against me is like the water. It's so wide across. You ever cross a wide river? Going into Arkansas and crossing the Mississippi, or when you go up north, we got past one of them rivers. Going up north, when that Mississippi West, going across the Ohio, the river wide, man. And y'all say your breach is like the sea. Some of us, our breach is like the coast of Savannah to the coast of Ghana. The whole ocean. This man saying, just turn back. Verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee. They have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? See, you used to be my little, when people go out and about with the babies, it don't matter who you are, but if you have a cute little baby, folks can be racist. They be like, oh, hey, cute little baby. Woo, 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 woo. Then folks start talking another language. Boo, 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 baby, baby. But when them babies grow up,
Yep.
you're a grown man. No, actually just 12. Grown man. Right? So this is when we see this comparison. So we see how Yah is saying that the whole earth was used to be like, man, just perfection and growing up this young, this beautiful baby, this beautiful queen. But like, nah, by halfway through the process, you just got to tripping. Now everybody looking and just making a mockery of it. Verse 16, all thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hissing, gnashed their teeth. They said, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked, for we have found, we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he has devised. He hath fulfilled his word, that which he hath commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversaries. Their heart cried unto the Lord, O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river day and night. Give thyself no rest, let not the apple of thine eye cease. See, that's how we're supposed to be. Arise, cry out in the night, in the beginning of the watches, pour out thine heart. No, I'm too hard. No, I'm doing all that. Pour out thy heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thine hands toward him for the life of thy young children. Well, when you go back to the Shema, the Ve'ahavta, what do? You teach your children. See. Folks is gone to captivity. He ain't forgot the covenant.
Right. That's it.
You are incarcerated.
Yep.
Some of y'all gonna die. But if you want your child to live, stick to the covenant. Stick to the covenant. What verse? I'm sorry, I lost my verse. Where am I at? 20, thank you, sweet. 19 going crack. Lift up thine hands toward him, thank y'all. For the life of thy young children, the faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of long span? Shall the priests and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as in a solemn day my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escaped nor remained. Those that I have swallowed and brought up hath mine enemy consumed. So I think it was in verse 18 and 19. He just like, y'all just start crying now, man. Just cry out all night. Cease not to cry out. You know, but things ain't that bad for you to cry out all night. Because when I put my pajamas on and I go in my room, night-night. Night-night. I see you in the morning. Have mercy. Folks been eating good today, I guess. Sorry. 1 Samuel. The babies today they've been cutting loose today. It's all right. You don't want to know.
1 Samuel.
1 Samuel, 10th chapter.
Okay.
1 Samuel 10. Look at verse 17. 1 Samuel 10 and 17. And Samuel called the people together unto the Lord in Mizpeh. This called, when he called the people, that was the Hebrew word, Za'ak. So when we see called and Shmuel, Za'ak, right? The Ami, the people, right? It's the same word used for crying out. Okay? All right, 1 Samuel 13. And as we get better in our Hebrew, and we look onto our Tanakhs, and we look at our blue letter, we look at the Hebrew side, we'll see the English might translate it, and Samuel called. But we know, understanding our Hebrew, that it was Za'ak. Loud. It was loud when he called the people. He might not even say, hey, these might just been like, ah, and everybody came. See, we not desperate. No, desperate times call for desperate measures. So at least we know when things get rough, we know what to do. We know what to do. You better not go to sleep. When things get really bad, we gotta be up all night. Set up as many petitions and crying out all night, because we know that if we cry, He'll come.
That's it.
So we know when things get rough, we know what to do. All night, crying out. Za'ak. 1 Samuel 13 and 4. So yeah, 13, sorry. 1 Samuel 13 and 4. And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten the garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also had an abomination with the Philistines, and the people were called Za'ak together after Saul to Gilgal. So this loud shout, crying out, and the people came. Right? So if we cry out, Yah will come. Or salvation, or restoration, or deliverance will come. All right, let's look at Isaiah. No, I'm sorry. We still got Psalms. Let's finish Psalms 77. Go back to Psalm 77. Psalm 77 and 7. I like them. 777. Anytime I see 666, I just be like, ugh.
I saw a license plate coming up here today. I thought the same thing.
I'd have been like, where you from?
Gotta give me a-
Ross, where you going? Route 66? Where you going? Oh, mercy. Both crazy. But these people today, these people are so wicked and so into witchcraft and in Satanism today. You know, we got people walking around want to drink blood all day. Like, y'all be ashamed of yourself. So I got 10 knuckles you can drink on. Get away from that mess. Psalm 77 and 7, it reads, will the Lord cast off forever? Will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Remember we talked about that during Bible study this week? Right? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? And I said, this is my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of Yah. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. So when times get bad, and I mean bad, and when it gets so bad, we're going to question, has Yah forgot the promise? Has he forgotten to be good to us?
You seen the rainbow lately? Yeah.
So when things get cuckoo, right, once again, we can point to the South. And if you're in certain parts of South America, you're standing in line for a piece of bread. So can you imagine the chaos?
Yeah.
So when things get that bad,
Right.
when it gets that bad, and where's my Yah?
Yeah.
We must remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember the wonders of old. All right, that's how we're going to have to be. Now, Isaiah, Yeshaya 5, 1 through 7. Isaiah. We've talked about this before. We'll look at it again. Isaiah 5. Right? Remember, this is the what? Talking about y'all talking about is what? What is y'all talking about in this chapter?
His beloved.
His beloved, which he compares him to a what? Vineyard. Okay, us being that vineyard. Okay, Isaiah 5:1. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard and a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it. And also made a winepress therein, and he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Remember, we was looking at in Lamentations about this daughter of Jerusalem, this virgin.